Trump and her running third party and supporting the Democratic Party nominee. You want to know what she said? She said, "Trust me, guys, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that we defeat the Republican fascism," meaning that when she loses, she's going to support Joe Biden. So there's some people in this video. There's some people in this video, by the way. Some with longer hair. Some of them that also live in Kansas City as well. Some people that were lying about the dirty break are being called them out because they lied about the dirty break. And because of that, we didn't get the wedding invite.
Did you hear that shit, guys? Did you hear that shit? Because we called them out for lying on the dirty break, which, by the way, we never did. That's why they weren't invited to the wedding. Zach, are you listening? Can you hear me? I think Zach has to put his headphones in, but we got to go back so he can hear this shit. Can you hear any of that, Zach?
Oh yeah, I could hear that shit. This is gonna be spicy for sure. I haven't heard any of this yet. This is my first time.
And also, we did, just to respond to the substance there, we didn't lie about the dirty break. Marianne Williamson strongly implied on our show when we asked her that she would be interested in pursuing the dirty break strategy, that she would be interested in running third party if she feels like the DNC cheats her. She implied that. We acknowledged that. Other people like Briahna Joy Gray acknowledged that. And then Nick and CJ smeared those people and acted like we were being dishonest for just clearly acknowledging what was obviously implied in an interview. So there was no dishonesty. There was no lie coming from anyone other than these fucking clowns who, like I said, make money based off of shitting on leftists, smearing about us, and being dishonest.
Yep, but you're just the woke neoliberal PMC class, Gavin. You're not a real revolutionary like Jimmy Dore, man.
Some of them that also live in Kansas City as well. Some people that were lying about the dirty break are being called them out because they lied about the dirty break, and because of that, we didn't get the wedding invite.
Also, this wasn't even Marianne Williamson's fucking wedding. I'm pretty sure Krystal and Kyle were not like, ooh, should we invite Nick from RBN? Nope. They called out the Vanguard for lying about the dirty break strategy, even though they didn't. I'm pretty sure that had nothing to do with Krystal and Kyle's calculus when they were formulating the invite list. Just saying.
Oh yeah, bro, you have to be a shill. Like, it's so ridiculous, dude. Also, can we just point out really quickly right here that in this photograph that they're using to react to, let's just look at the range in politics, right? Like, are you trying to tell me for 1 second that you're trying to assess that somehow myself, Gavin, Ben Burgis, Briahna Joy Gray, Katie Halper, Marianne Williamson, and Shuan Head all have the same politics, and we're all a part of the same cabal of fucking people that like all the Illuminati, right? That's how people are so ridiculous. We don't have we have a wide range in political disagreements between the two of us. I imagine if you sat all of those people down on a table and you were like, debate everything that you disagree with, it would get massively chaotic. Okay, everybody there has really strong opinions. They have a lot of convictions, right? They all believe they're right. They all believe that their analysis is the one that's going to lead to the best and greatest world, right? That's what I like about all these people. I like people with conviction, and I like good people, and that's what I think about all of these guys pictured in the photograph, right? But to say that they all have the same analysis is absolutely ridiculous. That is a lie. That is bad. That's poor representation. So it all falls apart, acting as if like, oh, because of this one like random thing that we stood up for because we're real. Bro, some weird internet beef that nobody actually gives a fuck about. Okay, like, bro, and also just go ahead.
I was going to say, not even all, because their whole implication here is that we're all access journalists who are like schmoozing with Marianne Williamson, who's actually like pulling the strings, right? And like she's just influencing us all to give her positive coverage. Most of the people in this photo are not even Marianne Williamson simps. Like, I'll proudly wear that title. I think Shu said she was like excited to vote for Marianne Williamson, but Katie Halper and Briahna Joy Gray have like entertained the notion. They've been like, maybe this would be positive for the left, but they're not simps. They're not fangirls. Ben Burgis, I was actually talking to him about Marianne Williamson, and he was like cautiously optimistic, kind of like, I think it's good that she's running, but I'm kind of skeptical of this, that, and the other thing. Like, these are not just a bunch of Marianne Williamson simps. Beside myself, maybe you might classify me as that. I'll own that, whatever. But not even everyone in this photo agrees about Marianne.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a horrible reduction. It's a horrible reduction. And yeah, and obviously, you know, their interview with Marianne was so fucking embarrassing. One of the funniest, fucking most disgraced, you know, encounters ever. And then he gave away the whole game. He was like, I already got my soundbite. Why did you make us look bad afterward? I was going to take this out of context and use it to smear this woman like a good journalist. Like, what are you talking about, dude? How can you just say this on air proudly? Like, this is the kind of thing that a lot of people like do, but they say it in a hush hush or not at all on air because it's like so disgraceful and unfair.
We called the Vanguard, Krystal Ball, and many other people lying about Marianne Williamson dirty break because we reminded many of these people that you see in this picture who have no memory that when you run in the Democratic Party nominee, you got to sign a contract that says you must endorse the candidate that wins, which is why Tulsi Gabbard, even though she was extremely anti-Democratic Party, that's why Tulsi Gabbard endorsed Joe Biden, because she had to. We don't know the penalties of that, but every single person crossed.
They don't have to, by the way. They don't fucking have to. What are they going to do? Arrest Marianne Williamson if she doesn't endorse Joe Biden in the event that she loses? That's complete bullshit. Is it expected? Yes, obviously.
Gavin pieced out, but what he's saying is it expected? Of course it's expected, right? That's part of the decorum. That's how they get you. But you know what? Marianne Williamson has constantly picked up the mantle and said, "Hey, man, I'm gonna do. I mean, it depends on how they treat me. If they cheat me, then I'm not interested." And boy, howdy, they've already cheated her, man. They've already cheated her. And the people, let it be known, the people of New Hampshire are pissed. The people of New Hampshire are pissed off. So you know, anyway. They see that there's a lot of people are seeing that there's you know, a lack of democracy there. But anyway, not to hijack your point, Gavin.
Thus far, apparently the contract is so strong. Tulsi, who was 100% anti-Democrat at that point, endorsed Biden because that contract is that fucking strong. But the asset journalists in this picture wanted you to forget about that, and they wanted to convince you that somehow you're allowed to debate in the Democrat Party and do a dirty break. That is not possible. We told you that, but since we told you that, we wasn't invited to the
Can
wedding.
we pause this?
And we're
Yeah,
gonna talk
they're
about
so salty, bro. I'm sorry. This is pathetic. It's embarrassing.
Sorry,
They literally
I'm being a little laggy.
Oh no, you're fine. They literally are like pretending that because they said that Marianne, whatever, like no, they're just so it is torture. We're sorry, we're making you guys watch cringe porn right now. It's fucking ridiculous because it has absolutely nothing to do with it, but they just are dripping with fucking jealousy right here. It's just like, oh, I like these people that I've done nothing but shit on, decided not to have us on at their wedding, and now I'm gonna make a video calling them elitist and all this kind of stuff. This is hilarious. Not to interrupt too much, but every time they try and go on a roll, I'm like, what the fuck, dude? This is it's embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing. It almost feels like it almost feels like we shouldn't be making fun of it. Like it's like ableist or something. But anyway, let's keep watching.
Why we wasn't invited. Why you didn't see probably Jimmy there. You didn't see Black Power Media. You didn't see
Convo Couch. You didn't see there.
Yeah, you didn't see the Convo Couch there. You didn't see Jimmy Dore there. Where was Jimmy? This is such fucking cope. Bro, this is such fucking cope. What do you think this was? This was a wedding. You know who you invite to your wedding? Your fucking friends.
People you don't fucking hate who aren't like ridiculously uncharitable to you at every opportunity for clicks.
Right. Like, yeah, they probably didn't invite the fucking Convo Couch people because those people aren't their fucking friends.
Also, isn't she in Russia?
One of them's in Russia doing propaganda for Putin. But yeah, I mean, even if they respected the couch potato morons, which they clearly for obvious reasons, even if they respected them and liked them, if they're not friends, if they don't like them enough to want them at their fucking wedding, one of the most like intimate and personal parts of anyone's life, yeah, they're not gonna fucking invite them. What do you think this was? This was not like a fucking like activist labor rally or like an anti-war march or something. Like this was literally two private people's wedding who get to decide who they invite, people that they want to share this moment together. Just because your fucking loser grifter friends weren't there does not speak poorly of the people that were in fact invited.
Yep, it's embarrassing, guys. The fucking level of analysis from this, it makes it's just like I'm embarrassed for them. It reminds me of the Marianne interview. I'm just like, if I see people that are fucking up so badly, like I literally cringe. Like I get that feeling like you've just like accidentally touched a chalkboard the wrong way, right? Like, you know what I'm talking about? That tingle sensation where you want to look away. Like if I'm watching shit that cringes me out too hard, I have to mute it and put it on fucking subtitles because I'm just like, I can't handle this. That's what listening to this is like.
Rude ghetto hoodlums, but they couldn't invite Margaret Kimberly.
They're just naming people that they didn't invite Margaret Kimberly. Like, again, what do you think this was? You're just naming all of your fucking friends and people that you.
This isn't your wedding.
I know. Like, I like Margaret Kimberly. I have respect for Margaret Kimberly. If I get married, she might not be invited. Just to be honest,
of course not, dude.
Obviously, yeah. I'm just saying, like, I have respect for her, but just there's lots of people who I have respect for that I'm not going to invite to my goddamn wedding if that happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. This is just such dog shit, fucking garbage analysis.
The only other people that support the Marianne Williamson project, and I'm missing the super chat with the segment here. Obviously, I'm having fun. CJ, you want to try me? I'm just ranting. I'm having fun. Anything want to try me? Project?
No, we like this is very unofficial, informal. Because we're in a space with some of these people, but to me, Nick, this is the photo I told you.
He's taking too long to come up with a joke.
Actually, let me say this.
Don't get that kind of laziness from Zach at the Vanguard.
I did see a comment.
Commentary king.
This here, I did see. Here is our email.
Yeah, get to the fucking point. Why are you? No one wants to contact you, bro.
And
he's trying to think of something clever to say. He's just stalling right.
Connected with our Substack.
Yep.
The last thing before we start the segment, like the stream, get us to 500 likes.
In the middle of the stream, he's doing this. It's because he has nothing to add. He has no way to be funny.
Yeah, dude. Get like, all right.
Segment. This is the picture where that changed our thumbnail for today.
Oh yeah, so we're finally gonna get to it. This is the humor part, I think.
You know, I'm on the West Coast, so all of my RBN comrades, brothers and sisters,
you can tell they want to do our style so bad.
Like,
can we pause this 1 second? All right, so Gavin and I have an established thing here, and they've literally just ripped it off 100%, but it's so bad that I can't even be mad or jealous about it. Like, it's like Gavin will just like start the story typically, right? And then it's my job to come in with as many zingers as I can on top of it, right? That's how we normally flow our Vanguard streams. That's what CJ is trying to do here. That's why somebody earlier was like, Zach is the CJ of the Vanguard. It's like, no, I'm good at what I do. I come back in and I bring the 1-2, right? The 2-piece and the soda, as they say. It's absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, that's all I can think about is I'm like, I know exactly what CJ's job is right here, just as a podcaster. He's supposed to come in and lay it on thick. He's supposed to insult every last one of us. He's supposed to drag us and make the audience just laughing and cackling like hyenas, right? But he can't do it, so he's stalling. So he's bringing up a bunch of dumb bullshit and he's making people want to click away. This is embarrassing. Substance aside, you guys need to try harder to just be better hosts.
Yeah, 100%. And don't let anyone call you the CJ of the Vanguard. That's insulting as fuck. The only funny thing that CJ has ever said was this.
The door, if you hear an ambulance, the Vanguard will be there, sir.
And that wasn't even supposed to be funny for the reason that it is funny. Anyway, yeah, it's actually crazy how like just bad both of these people are at what they do. Regardless of how much you agree with their politics, it's actually it's pretty insane that they have an audience, just to be honest, given the level of analysis, commentary, and delivery we're getting here.
But it just shows you that's the game, right? That's the game, is that all you have to do is fucking regurgitate the drivel back to them from their back to people like their like any audience, right? Like regurgitate people's favorite commentators back to them. In this case, like Jimmy Dore in the Gray Zone, right? Give them the most like, and then just viciously criticize anybody that just disagrees or wavers away from their favorite commentator. And you can basically like, you can get in the game, because there's so many, like, again, I call it the clapping seal syndrome, right? Like, there's so many people, oh, that guy said what I think. Oh, man, he's talking to me. Oh, yeah, I like Jimmy, too. He's the only truth teller. Yeah, we don't disagree on no politics, but I like these guys. Like, that's their audience. It's just a bunch of fucking toothless redneck hillbillies that think they're woke for watching some fake leftists.
Up and I'll usually see, and I woke up and I logged onto Twitter. This is literally in my feed.
Like a real revolutionary, right? I woke up and I logged into Twitter to see what people were saying about the Vanguard. Sounds like a real fucking revolutionary, right after Fred Hampton's own heart, right? And again, I do the same shit. I'm not gonna lie. I also look at Twitter when I wake up. But you don't hear me fucking out here calling myself a revolutionary and chastising other people for not being as serious of a lefty as I am because they went to a goddamn wedding.
And I'm tagged multiple times by different people. Like, I can't wait till RBN gets a hold of this picture, or you see this nonsense, or you see this access journalism.
Imagine that's what your audience reacts to a fucking wedding.
Right.
Can't wait to see these guys shit all over this other couple's happiness.
And you know,
oh yeah, these are real good guys.
You know what else I saw that was fucking hilarious? Nick retweeting someone on Twitter saying like I guess they had on like Nelson Mandela's grandson or something like that on RBN, which is pretty cool. I didn't watch the interview, but I mean, that's cool. Anyway, he was like tweeting like, now everyone's paying attention to this wedding instead of the fact that I interviewed Nelson Mandela's grandfather. I was like, you know why people are paying attention? Sorry, grandson. And I was like, you know why people are paying more attention to this wedding than your interview? It's because of you motherfuckers ginning up a controversy for money over two leftist commentators getting married. You're the reason people are talking about it. We weren't even going to address this. We were going to just be like, hey, yeah, FYI, we were at the wedding. Here's a picture. It was fun. Let's talk about actual news. That was our plan for our, back at home stream today. But because of the fact that they decided to devote 5 fucking hours of coverage and 5 million tweets to the fact that 2 people got married and they weren't invited, here we are. They forced our hand. And, we're happy to fucking have our hand forced. Don't get me wrong. We love talking about this bullshit. We're more than happy to do a 5-hour stream about it ourselves. But the point is, don't bitch and moan about the fact that people are talking about this instead of your interview when you're the one that started this discourse and you're the one that's acting like it's somehow controversial for people that are working in the same space to meet up IRL at a wedding.
That's the other thing, like I will say, not to get too outed about this, but if they're gonna play in the muck, the one thing that's a really common recurrence, and that was one of the things that got under my fucking skin about Nick, man. We were always trying to promote him and hype him and talk about all the cool shit that they were doing, and we used to be really friendly with the guy back in the day. We were talking about it. We were definitely this was back when they were Fred Hampton leftists, right? And Nick's gonna try and brag about interviewing Cornel West. Guess who had to run a fucking retraction because you put words in his mouth, okay? And now we'll never ever come back on your show. So in your most proudest moments, you fucked up your interview. Congratulations. But anyway, whenever cool shit would happen to them, we would be like, yo, that's so awesome. We're so happy for you guys. That's an amazing guest. Their attitude whenever anybody would get a good guest, fucking God forbid we have one good guest that comes on our show, they'd be like, wow, can't believe that person's not coming on our show, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, bro, can you not just be a regular colleague for 1 second and be like, oh, hey, I saw this person's coming on your show. Tight, congratulations. I also would like to interview fucking, I don't know, Jesse Ventura or something, right? And then it would be well, dude, yeah, it's really cool. But, you don't have to tweet about how oh, wow, nobody wants to support our network when you also get fucking good guests. And you're also I don't know. It was ridiculous. That was an early thorn in my side. Another telling tale that it's okay, this isn't about solidarity. This isn't about growing a movement. This isn't about hyping up people that are coming up together. I don't give a fuck that they have a guest on that I want to interview. That's good for them. People have guests on all the time. I wish I had access to, right? We've gotten amazing guests that we're really fucking fortunate to have interviewed on our show. That's kind of the name of the game. But when people piss and moan about oh, well, you went on this show and then they didn't go on this show, and it's just yeah, dude, well, they probably didn't like your show that much, or they'd never fucking heard of you, or you didn't have a good connection, or they decided to do this thing as a one-off and they didn't want to how they're always constantly bitching about how like Bernie Sanders is a sellout. Like he never engages with lefty media. Like AOC is a sellout. She never engages with lefty media. Here is Marianne engaging with lefty media all the fucking time. And yet, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, there's something else wrong with her because that's what their audience wants to hear. It's pretty ridiculous.
Shit, man. Because RBN, we've been one of the few that have been calling out this rising acceptable access journalism that we've seen among progressives that treat like, oh yeah, of course, we're friends. We're not gonna be mean to our friends. Ignoring the fact that the press not supposed to be fucking friends with politicians. You're not supposed to be chummy.
Yeah. Also, again, I wouldn't even call Marianne Williamson a politician. She's running for president. She's never held elected office. She's an outsider candidate who spent her life writing and being a spiritual leader and activist, also running nonprofits, but she's not a politician. Also, not her friend. Not her friend. It wasn't my wedding. I didn't invite her. Like I said, Krystal Ball always says when they cover Marianne, just to be clear, this is someone who I consider to be my friend. That might bias my coverage in her favor. Krystal's always upfront about that. And like I said, it was Krystal's wedding. But I'm not Marianne Williamson's friend. I look up to her, admire her, and I support her candidacy. But you could have said that of me years before I ever thought I would find myself in the same room as Marianne Williamson because we both got invited to the same wedding. I never would have thought that would happen.
We spoke to Marianne Williamson when she's so early in the Vanguard podcast history before we had any right to. She was extremely kind and gracious to us, but I'm just saying, like, it's not like we're riding like a fucking like wave right now. It's like, yeah, we looked at the fucking prospects. Marianne was the only person challenging Joe Biden besides fucking RFK Jr. You guys know how I feel about that guy. I don't fucking trust him further than I can throw him at all. Okay, I'm not buying into the hype. So you know what? It's like, here we are. And what does that mean? Marianne's not allowed to leave her house. She's not allowed to go to her dear friend's wedding. Because I'm also at that wedding. I'm supposed to throw fucking tomatoes at her or something? Like be like really rude? Is that how you score points? Like that's ridiculous. That's just so stupid. I'm not going to behave like that.
Right.
These people, they're not supposed to be comfortable enough with you to go to your social events. We couldn't get any of the boutique left to attend the March for Medicare for All.
Pretty much everyone in this photo attended the fucking March for Medicare for All. We met Nick in person at the March for Medicare for All. Marianne Williamson also attended the March for Medicare for All. I don't know about Ben Burgis, but I know that Briahna and Katie were both at the March for Medicare for All. And I remember Shoe on Head putting out a passionate defense of the March for Medicare for All, saying that people who were criticizing the March for Medicare for All were ridiculous and unserious, and that she met a bunch of awesome people at the march she attended in New York City. So that's just a literal lie. Like I said, these people's fucking job, their business is to smear and shit on and lie about progressive leftists.
It's fucking ridiculous. I was just about to say this. We literally met Nick. I believe he gave me a hug when I met him. So this is just puts into perspective. He decided to hate us after the March for Medicare for All decided to pretend and lie like we weren't also at that, dude. I know exactly where it was. We were at the fucking Plaza Fountains where almost every major protest in Kansas City happens. Okay. Fucking all the time people are protesting there, and we attended that one. And yeah, ridiculous. That it's fucking insane that outside of Ben Burgis, who I don't think attended, and I don't know if fucking Katie Halper's boyfriend was there or not, but all the commentators they're pretty much talking about, including Marianne Williamson, who literally spoke, was one of the few commentators, or not commentators, excuse me, but just like fucking people, non-politicians, but like people in the world of politics, right? Because she'd run for president, and she'd, another thing, shout out to Marianne Williamson that we, have brought up but don't talk about a lot recently, like when everybody had turned their back on progressive candidates down ballot and decided to play it safe, Marianne Williamson was tirelessly out there, endorsing candidates like Eva Pitsova, right? When AOC sent money to her fucking blue dog, Joe Crowley-esque fucking opponent whose name escapes me, but he's a longtime basically fucking dino in Arizona. Anyway, this is ridiculous. This is just a smear. And for them to act like, oh, we're the only ones speaking truth in the middle of just blatantly lying so much, they have no points to make. This was when they were supposed to bring the hammer down. This was when they were supposed to really hurt us, twist it, make it painful for us, really tear us apart. Give me your best shot, dude. It's just a real failure right here because it just comes across as abject pettiness. Like, why didn't you invite invite me and all my friends to your wedding. Like, could you imagine being so like fucking narcissistic that somebody's having their own fucking wedding and you're just like pissing and moaning about how it's not your wedding? Like, oh, they didn't invite all Margaret Kimberly.
Where's the convo couch?
Yeah, what? Are you fucking kidding me? You sound dumber than shit. And nobody who is not a deranged sycophant would ever take you seriously.
Yeah, 100%. And as Cosmic Marauder points out, we don't even pretend to be neutral. We openly support Marianne. And that's 100% true, right? Like, I don't, first of all, I don't pretend to be a journalist. Second of all, I don't pretend to be objective. Unless I'm literally quoting a statistic or like reading out of a fucking article that was written by an actual objective journalist, an opinion commentator. That is literally the definition of my job. I do not pretend to be neutral. The cards are on the table. I support Marianne Williamson. I'm going to vote for Marianne Williamson. I'm not sitting here pretending to be some fucking Bob Woodward or whatever the fuck. I'm literally a shit-talking, muck-raking YouTuber.
Isn't that fucking hilarious how everybody was totally cool with everybody like being like, yeah, we all support Bernie Sanders. Like, yeah, dude, my politics aren't identical to Bernie Sanders, but they're way closer than anybody else. So yeah, I support him, and that's pretty obvious, right? Like, Briahna Joy Gray was his press secretary. Like, you know, everybody else featured here openly supported Bernie Sanders. I believe, did she support Bernie in 2016 also, Gavin? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, right. Okay, see, I don't, my brain catalog doesn't go back that far, but as far as, you know, YouTubers go, but yeah, so 2016, we all supported Bernie Sanders, and again, yeah. Gavin and I aren't fucking journalists, but we call Hunter Thompson the patron saint of the Vanguard, and we literally constantly regurgitate his quote about how there's no such thing as objective journalism. He says, don't look for it under my byline or any byline of mine or any other journalist I can think of, with the exception of box scores and stock indexes. The term itself is a meaningless contradiction in terms. Okay, so even take it from the man himself, the patron saint of the Vanguard. And two, Gavin and I are not journalists. We have absolutely zero power. Okay, we have no power at all. The only reason these guys cover us is because we trigger Jimmy Dore, and they want him to love them so badly and keep putting Nick and, you know, whom I don't think CJ's ever been on the Jimmy Dore show, but keep promoting, you know, I know Sabby's been on the show many times, keep promoting their fucking hustle, basically, right? Which is what this is. It's a big hustle, you know, whatever. But absolutely ridiculous.
Yep. And they burned every bridge in the process of trying to suck his nutsack even more and trying to appease him. They burned the fucking bridge with everyone who's actually a serious leftist, and now the only people left in their shitty little clique are a bunch of fake grifters who pander to the right wing constantly while still pretending to be holier than thou and punching left constantly. So yeah, it's incredibly embarrassing. That's where they found themselves, and now they're lashing out because they know what's going on. They know where they found themselves and the fact that they can't get themselves out of this hole that they've dug, and they just keep digging deeper into this fucking grave of credibility. Anyway, let's keep watching a bit more of this. It does continue to get funnier, promise.
Marianne Williamson or anyone to tweet about Worker Strike Back. They couldn't get Bernie Sanders, Marianne Williamson to go to Worker Strike Back. Marianne Williamson couldn't go to Worker Strike Back, but she can go to the wedding. Why do you think that is? Why do you guys think that is?
Why didn't she come do this one thing for me?
You're not in it. A lot of people were convinced that they was allowed in this club. They subscribe to these people's channels, and they're like, man, I'm part of the club. No, this is class war. This is class loyalty. And you think I couldn't?
This is class war. People on the left got together IRL at a wedding, and it's class war.
Been invited to this wedding? CJ, you think we couldn't have been part of this damn club? Nigga, last year, all we have to do is like, yeah, I know we're radical. I know we've been telling you guys that electoral politics is a waste of time, but I heard some great things about Marianne Williamson, man.
You know, considering the fact that they're trying to like substantively critique us for access journalism or whatever, they're spinning a lot of this video talking about the fact that they weren't invited to the wedding and how they maybe could have been invited to they seem pretty hung up on the fact that they weren't invited to the fucking wedding. That seems to be the bulk of the commentary.
Yeah, dude, people, because they're pissed off because they consider themselves to be a bigger channel than us, and they're all like, how the fuck did this happen to this channel? And it's like, bro, like, I also thought that all the time. I was like, man, I don't know, these people are all really successful, Gavin and I are here, but at the end of the day, you just got to accept it. Like, we're nice, we're friendly, and even though we're critical on our show, bro, people like us, people want to vibe with us. We have a good vibe, a good energy, and bro, you have the energy of somebody that will stab you in the back and suck your blood for a fucking leg up in this industry, and I don't think that's what people are looking for.
I heard some great things about Marianne Williamson. Great Marianne Williamson. She can push by a left. Imagine if Marianne Williamson came on our show and I gave her the nice softball interview she was looking for. And I was telling my people, like, yeah, I think everyone should donate to Marianne Williamson's campaign. Here's the link. I really hope you beat Joe Biden, Marianne. I'll be at the goddamn wedding.
Yeah. How do you think Vanguard got there?
I know none of us did that. Also, don't you guys claim to hate Joe Biden too? Don't you want a progressive to beat him? Like, I love how it's controversial, and I'm sorry for interrupting, but I just love how it's controversial to be like, maybe someone to the left of Joe Biden should challenge him. We all hate Joe Biden. We all think the neoliberal status quo that he represents is completely unacceptable from a leftist perspective. Here's someone that's just entered the frame, who with a platform and who shares our politics in large part, maybe with a few areas of disagreement aside. Here's someone who's clearly, by every single metric available, more progressive, more left-leaning than Joe Biden. And all of a sudden, somehow, it's controversial from Joe Biden's number two, two of his biggest haters. It's somehow unconscionable and controversial to support someone who is challenging him from the left. You've lost the plot. You've lost the plot, motherfuckers.
Because they magically was standing for Kyle and Kulinski, aka Jay-Z and Beyonce. They was standing for them. Yeah. Kept bringing them on the show.
What?
Make sure to ask them softball questions. Make sure to say, I agree with most of everything you're saying, like to all of their answers, right? Yeah. Now, magically, he's at the wedding. Now, wedding is just not random people, right? Or do people now invite random people?
CJ would never know. He's never been invited to a fucking wedding.
For obvious reasons.
He thinks that the fucking guests choose the guest list. This is weird. This is where the analysis is at. Also, the Jay-Z and the Beyonce thing, that's fucking hilarious. That's fucking hilarious. This is lazy analysis, but we knew that already.
Oh, yeah.
Now invite random people to weddings? Do people now who don't live in that state and have to fly to a different state, do they now spend money on random people to go visit weddings? Is that?
I'm not sure if you're aware, but that's kind of a thing that happens. Yeah. Like, regardless of what your status is. Yeah. People fly out of state to go to weddings of people they know, people they're friends with, family members. I don't really think that's quite the gotcha.
Wow. You're in the airplane class, Gavin. You've flown domestically, you fucking elitist swine. Anybody that's ever flown in an airplane is not a socialist.
Yeah, flying to a wedding is super normal, as Cosette says here. That's something that happens all the time. Yeah, and I used to be an editor for wedding videos. I used to edit wedding videos before we did the Vanguard. And something that everyone says during their reception, when the bride and groom take the microphone and give a speech, this is something they always say, Krystal and Kyle included. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to travel out here. We understand that it's an expense. We understand that it can be inconvenience if you have a job and you got to do stuff. The fact that you took this time to come out here, fly out here, whatever, it means so much to us. That's something that everyone says at their fucking wedding. So for them to act like it's people are all of a sudden flying out of state into weddings, what? This is crazy. This must be like some Illuminati fucking convention. What's going on here? Like, it's literally not that fucking deep.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, we were supposed to walk to Washington D.C. Like, fucking no way. Obviously.
Is that what's happening, or is this solidification for the Vanguard that they have been their apprenticeship for the Bernie Sanders industrial context is over?
The Bernie Sanders industrial context. Interesting. I'm not really sure what that is or how I'm a part of it, but all right.
I'll wear it proud. Your context aside.
The Bernie Sanders industrial context. This is what we're dealing with, guys. I mean, we're honestly lucky that this is what we're dealing with as our quote unquote enemies. Like, yeah, if these are our enemies, then I don't feel very insecure. That's for sure.
And their apprenticeship for the Bernie Sanders industrial context is over.
Yep.
They've crossed over. They
it.
Put your tassel to the other side, brothers. Put your tassel to the other side. You have graduated into the Bernie Sanders.
I do want to say
We've always been Bernie bros. Just like you motherfuckers. You guys also supported Bernie Sanders. What are you talking about the Bernie Sanders industrial complex? Nick literally raised 12 grand on GoFundMe to go knock doors for Bernie Sanders. He drained the working class of funds and sheep herded people into the Democratic Party for months. He fucking raised thousands of dollars from people to go simp for Bernie Sanders. We were all Bernie bros. To somehow act like we've graduated into the class of Bernie Sanders industrial complex, whatever the fuck that means, it's just stupid.
Well, that's because they went the other way. They decided to carve out a revolution in Jimmy Dore's asshole.
Yup.
Congratulations to the Vanguard boys because they accomplished the dream. They were very open about the fact that they were fans of Kyle Kulinski, fans of Krystal Ball. Not journalists.
Lie to our audience, like
Yeah,
you do every fucking day about
Right.
Jimmy Dore.
So what's the gotcha? Yeah, we were very. How is it access journalism then? If we were very open about the fact that we're fans of Kyle and Krystal and Marianne for that matter, like how is it fucking access journalism then? Doesn't that literally defeat the entire point you're trying to make here? The entire little gotcha you're setting up.
They love you. They want to be approved by these people. And they thought that they can lure RBN that way. They're like, oh, let's Krystal Ball follow you. Marianne Williamson, have Marianne Williamson follow you. Have some of these people on the channel say nice things about you. And they thought, oh man, these people like us. They like our tweets.
Other leftists showing solidarity with you is not trying to lure you into anything. Marianne Williamson coming on your show to try to defend herself against your outrageous, scandalous fucking allegations, again, the fucking bullshit you made up about her, the smears you've done on her. Her trying to defend herself is not luring you into anything. Krystal Ball following you on Twitter, if that happened, is not her trying to lure you. She probably was like, hey, these guys seem like they're doing good work. I'll express a little bit of solidarity, something that you clearly know nothing about, Nick.
Don't you also bitch constantly that people don't fucking follow you and reach out to you? Who's gonna have you trying to have your cake? You bitch about this. Oh, they don't want to talk to us because we're real revolutionaries. What the fuck? What the fuck? Are you kidding me? This is absolutely ridiculous. This is deeply unserious, as Nick likes to say.
Yep, and that's exactly correct. When David Sirota blocked them or whatever, instead of having them on their show, they threw a hissy fit and acted like he was a classist and a traitor and a fake leftist and all this stuff because he didn't platform them. But then when people do try to platform them or follow them on Twitter, it's them being lured into the establishment, and they're just above it. They're immune to such persuasion apparently, unless it's coming from Jimmy Dore.
Tweets. They went on a show before, so that we're not going to be critical. No, that's not how this shit works. Not how this shit works. They definitely try to tempt. And I see them do it all the time. They tempt people. Tempt people who will otherwise be radical, who will otherwise criticize their access journalism bullshit. Because when everyone on this photo will push a Marianne Williamson, that's bullshit. And there are people in this photo that we like. But that's bullshit. We're not going to allow that because we are friends.
We're not going to allow what? Going to a wedding? What are you talking about? Like, what?
Also, it's super rich coming from Nick Cruz. Oh yeah, these people try and lure you in. It's like, bro, what the fuck do you think Jimmy Dore did to you? What the fuck do you think that he's having you on his show because he likes your fucking commentary, because he thinks you're fucking smart, dude? No, he's having you on because you kiss his fucking ass, just like every single other person on his fucking show. Okay, that is how you get an open ticket onto the Jimmy Dore show. You just kiss his ass and defend him at all times and pretend that, fence it, yada yada. That's the literal playbook. Okay, it's the literal playbook. Okay, and now they're just filling the role of Jackson Hinkle because Jackson Hinkle went off on too much of a fucking deep end to play that role on fucking Jimmy's show.
Yep, 100%. And to be honest, say Jimmy Dore had an event, like say he got divorced and then got remarried or something like that, and had a wedding, and he invited Nick and CJ and hell, maybe even RFK Jr. made an appearance. Do you think we'd be out here trying to fucking cancel them over that and acting like it was a gotcha because Jimmy Dore and Nick Cruz saw each other in person one time? Like, no, that's fucking ridiculous. We have actual substantive criticisms to make of these clowns, and happening to bump into each other IRL at a wedding of a mutual friend is not the gotcha that you think it is. It's simply not.
And then when we call these people out for it, they're like, oh my God, how dare you? I thought you guys liked each other. How dare you call these people? I'm like, no, you're gaslighting.
Actually, we just laughed at you. No one said, how dare you? I don't give a fuck.
the working class. You're gaslighting the left, and we are not going to allow civility politics to silence what you guys are doing.
Right.
When you
Also,
guys are trying
this
to get
dude, let me
working
pause it one more
class
time for everybody. Just while I flex my working class clout, I dare Nick to show a W-2 for a working class $8, $10 an hour fucking job for the last year. I dare him to do it. Show me your fucking pay stubs before you lecture me about who's the fucking working class. This guy sits on his fucking ass and is a full-time podcaster masquerading as somebody who fucking is outside like working a fucking construction job for a fucking minimum wage, bro. I put it up. Put your money up, bro. Show these. Oh, you're such a working class guy. Are you a podcaster for a living? All right. You're not going to take 1 ounce of grace. You're going to just throw shade at every single other person who's a podcaster for a living. Like, oh, like that's not like a privileged job. Give me a break. He'll be like, the real working class. It's like, bro, you are a podcaster for a living and you run cover for a fucking niche internet celebrity as your day job, bro. I wouldn't necessarily call yourself like the fucking, delivery guy for UPS or the fucking mailman. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's incredibly hypocritical.
donate to a campaign that is dead in the water. Is that organized for mutual aid? Wasting resources. You got Krystal Ball telling this is the bride here that third-party activists had to grow up.
First of all, she didn't say that. She said people that were specifically smearing Marianne Williamson and throwing ridiculous, unfounded criticisms at Marianne Williamson. She said they have to grow up, not third-party activists in general. So once again, you're just being a completely fucking disingenuous hack smear artist. But even if she had said that, what am I not supposed to? Can I not go to the wedding of someone who said one thing or a few things I disagree with? Everyone in this photo has said things I disagree with. Obviously, I've disagreed with things Krystal and Kyle have said in the past. And even if she had said that, something that I would have in that case disagreed with, I'm not going to be like, oh, sorry, Krystal. I appreciate the invite, but remember 2 months ago when you said something that I kind of disagreed with? Sorry, not going to attend the wedding. The fuck is this?
And I'm gonna look at A1 in this video, in this clip here. And I want you guys to know all these motherfuckers are wealthy. And this is what another argument that RBN makes. That's
again simply untrue. Zach and I are not wealthy. So if you want to, like you said, if you want to compare W-2s, Nick, we'd be more than happy to. I promise that Zach and I are anything but fucking wealthy.
Yeah, it's and also like, bro, who fucking cares? Like, who fucking cares? Like, oh, bro, like, oh, they made an extra fucking 10 grand than me last year, or they made an extra 15 fucking 20 grand than me last year. Briahna Joy Gray is a fucking lawyer from Harvard, dog. All right, none of us went to fucking Harvard. You bitch that you don't make as much money as a Harvard graduated lawyer, bro. I mean, it's just like the audacity, bro. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know. I don't have anything else to add anymore.